Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for Conscious Conversations. My name is Lauren Douglas. I'm the SVP of Marketing at Channel Factory.
And I'm Conor Colman, Director of Commercial Partnerships at Dentsu.
Thank you so much for joining us, Conor.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I mean, I would love to just start with what do you do, and a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I work at Dentsu on the Agile Advantage team. We specialize in partnerships and creating value for our clients in innovative ways.
Cool.
So, yeah.
How did you kind of get into media? Like, what got you to this place? Were you like a 10-year-old kid that was like, I need to work in partnerships, digital partnerships?
Yeah, such a financial background. No, no. So I loved marketing. I loved advertising. I didn't want to go into finance or accounting. So I studied that in school, and I had an opportunity to start at a great place prior to this, and really enjoyed it and wanted to stay. So I tried a couple different things, but I really like where I'm at now.
Okay, cool. When you were in college, did you even know what media was? Did you know what like advertising agencies did? You just kind of like landed where you landed and went from there?
Thought they were, Geico commercials and funny things during the Super Bowl. So I didn't know just how deep the the media landscape and industry went.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I still think people don't. Like, I don't think college kids today know what's going on in media.
I sometimes feel like I don't even know what's going on in media. It's big. It's
totally
big and complicated. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think that like it potentially could be something that we taught kids in school, or at least kind of like had, I don't know, people just have more of an idea of like what goes into making creative and running ads and where do they go and how do they get distributed and what does brand safety mean and all of these things. Like, I think would be good for people to have like a little bit of that language, but we just don't really teach that.
I actually could not agree more. I love the education that I got, but the media side of it, the financial side, creative side, they didn't hit on a lot of the stuff that I work on today, which would be great to put into schools. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What would you say is one of your favorite parts of your job?
Ooh, I love the social aspect.
Okay.
I truly believe in personal connections when you're working with people, build trust, build camaraderie. So cool. I love the people that work in this industry. Yeah.
Are you back at work like in an office, or are you still mostly remote?
I go into the office.
Okay.
I go into the office. I'm one of them.
Yep. Cool. Nice. I think it does do a bit of like it just makes your job more fun when you have people around you, right?
I agree, and the live collaboration. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that Zoom and Teams and those technologies have been great for the situation that we went through the past couple of years. But I can attest that when my team goes into the office and we're in a conference room together, we get a lot done.
Yeah, totally. Can you tell me like what your day-to-day looks like and sort of like if you had to explain it to your mom or your grandma or somebody who was like not in the industry at all, like how would you say, okay, here's what I do and here's what I do every day at work?
Sure. Yeah. I think I've tried to do it with my wife a lot, and I'm not sure she still gets it. But so I would say that my main job is to create value for our clients, and where they need it, and try to be as dynamic as possible when we do that.
Okay.
The second part, and very much related to that, is finding the partners that we can work with to make that happen. Mm-hmm. Different clients have different needs and different perspectives of value.
Yeah.
And so we need to be agile and flexible on how we create that.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure that we're picking the right partners to do that. So that would be the kind of the second part of it. Yeah.
Cool. Have you seen any innovations or trends going into 2023 that you're excited about in sort of the industry, but also just in general?
This might come off as negative, but I actually think that when there's something like a uneasy economic outlook, I actually think that provides opportunity.
Okay.
I think that clients are going to be looking for even more creative, avenues to value. I think that performance is going to be big, and then how we can work with our partners to come up with solutions so that we benefit the clients, because at the end of the day, the industry that we work in is client-based, right?
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can. So I'm excited to see what challenges might come up and how we can overcome them.
Yeah. Do you think that potentially people may shift focus to more sort of performance and bottom of the funnel type advertising as a result of potentially having to cut back budgets?
I mean, I think that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think that dollars need to go farther when there's certain things that, certain economics things that are pushing on I guess it depends on the client that you're speaking about, but the answer is yes. I think that's absolutely a possibility.
Cool.
I think that clients are going to look for more out of their advertising dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think that might be in our future, and probably is already happening. So, cool. What else do you have? Have you been on the floor yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
All right.
Hoping to, but we've been maximizing our times here at CES with our personal connections and meetings. Yes.
I kind of want to go. I think that it's just really cool to see some of the innovations and talk about it and see what what everybody's buzzing about a little bit. So I'm going to try to get over there tomorrow morning.
That's great. That's great. I did see one cool thing.
Yeah, tell me.
It was a like a motorized stroller.
Okay.
That if you were not you didn't have your hands on it and you're going downhill, the stroller would automatically stop.
Okay.
Which I think is a pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Pretty cool
unless
technology.
it had a flaw one day, the tech stops working and you're just like, shit.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. Runaway stroller. Yeah.
That would be the worst headline for that brand that you could imagine.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. I think we need to figure out some brand safety options with a situation like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's cool. Do you have any hobbies?
Wow, that's a good question. Love to play golf.
Okay, cool.
Played golf in college.
Oh, nice. Where'd you go to college?
Providence.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Go Friars.
So you're a proper golfer,
I can hit it pretty good.
Okay.
I can hit it pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like college golf team, you're pretty serious.
It was. I went to it was. It wasn't as how do I say it? It wasn't NCAA, I don't know how to put this. It was much more relaxed than a lot of other programs.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. We're talking to an audience that may not exactly know the ins and outs of what is the difference between a media agency or a creative agency. So you sit in a position where you are responsible for the budgets of many different big brands. And investing those into different channels, whether it's social or out of home or CTV or linear, I imagine. Mm-hmm. How do you how varied is the approach from client to client? And are there things where you have a very specific and niche sort of strategy for one client, and then you're completely different for the other? Or is there a lot of sort of similarities when you look across the board when you're working across different businesses?
I think there's definitely specialized clients. There's depending on the industry that the client is in. Some are going to want straight outcomes, performance, maybe it's a CPG or something that's based on sales. Whereas some larger companies or something that's not necessarily direct to client, they're going to be much more brand focused, right? Mm-hmm. So it's I think some of the overall strategies are going to be similar how you approach it, but each client is going to have their own nuance.
Yeah.
On our side of the business, depending on that client and the nuance behind it, we try to get as creative in the value that we provide. And I know that the word value is very, very broad, mm-hmm. But it can be pricing, it can be how do we maximize studies and is this campaign working? Is this campaign not? Why isn't it? Mm-hmm. Can we create value that then they can test a new type of advertising? Whether it's in social, like you mentioned, or other avenues that they haven't necessarily been involved in yet.
Yeah, and what would you say is one of the biggest areas for testing or innovation, creativity? Is everyone talking TikTok? Is everyone talking CTV? What are you kind of hearing?
It's a good question. I think a lot of it is performance, at least in my experience right now, where a client's just hey, I want to get to this amount of things happening. Mm-hmm. How can I get there? Or what can we do? And we can try to curate the where our partnerships are to make sure that happens.
Cool. Very cool. All right. So what is the last link that you sent to someone?
I sent a NFL tweet about the Bills-Bengals situation, which is unfortunate, but I do love the game of football.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So another hobby.
Another hobby, that is. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.